Hello, Server Nation, and welcome back to Process Server Daily. I'm your host, Mighty Mike, and I want to personally thank you for listening to my show. As a process server, I know how difficult it can be to find the right resource just when you need them. I've developed a solution. ServerNation.us is a website that my sons and I built specifically with you in mind. Find a server, find a court, or simply find the right out-of-state affidavit. Don't forget to enter your contact details so you can be found too. ServerNation.us. The number one resource for legal support professionals. Server Nation, we are joined here by Jay Sorenson. This interview is kind of on the fly. He's one of our servers here at 530 Process Servers, and he has an awesome story to tell, so we thought we'd jump on the mic here today. You can check us out at processserverdaily.com for all of our other interviews and such. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. Jay, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome, Jay. So, our interview questions are going to be slightly different as you're a little bit new to the industry. How long ago did you get registered?
About a month ago, and I didn't really start working until maybe 4 weeks ago. So
nice.
Still fairly new.
Fresh me. Well, I got to be honest, most of the people who I train, when I send them out there in the field, they tend to, ho-hum around a little bit, and I told Jay right from the beginning, there's two different kinds of servers, ones that have an excuse and ones who got it served, and so it seems like you kind of took that to heart.
Yes, I did.
You're pretty new, so I'm going to take it easy on you as far as all the different experiences, but you've had a couple really cool experiences here in the last couple weeks. Why don't you tell us about the restraining order that you just served?
This one was fun. This is, so anyway, I got a restraining order that I had to go serve on a guy up in the city north of us. I just figured it wouldn't be any problem. Like, I'll just go get him at his house. And first couple times I went to the house, nobody was home. So I was like, okay, I'll just come back. So when I finally reached somebody on Sunday evening, I started making my attempts on Friday. I came in Sunday and I talked to the wife. And very clearly, she's like, oh, you can give it to his attorney. We know what it's about. And I'm trying to tell her, I'm like, no, I have to serve this. I can't give it to your attorney. I can't give it to you. I have to give it to him. Oh, you can give it to his attorney. And she slammed the door in my face. And I was like, oh, so this is how it's going to be.
So what did you do then? You were kind of like stuck, right? You're like, what do you do? I think you called me.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't know.
I called you a few times. And you're just like, just get it done, Jay. Come on now.
Make it happen. Make it happen. That's right.
You were giving me some good tips. You told me some good things, and I tried a couple things. I figured I was spending enough time driving up there, so I would spend some time doing like mini stakeouts, just trying to see if I can get him coming out of the house. But I never could. He parked his truck across the street and down the way, trying to avoid me. There was one night where I taped the papers to his windshield, hoping he'd come to his truck, and I could trap him that way. He didn't come. He didn't take the bait, and I was there till 11 o'clock at night because I knew he worked in the evenings. And when he came home, I was maybe he'll move his truck, and he never did.
Yeah, that works really well for when people are, running, trying to sprint from the building to the car, and you're not really able to make it in communicating distance, in a quick fashion. So you can put it on the window, and then they run to the car like they're going to get away, and then you just drive by, and you've been served as they're taking it off,
yeah.
As they're taking it off the windshields. So what happened next?
So I went over to his workplace, and I thought I was being sly, but I guess not really. I asked, too many people for information, and word got around, but I found out he did work there. And then I was kind of camping out in the parking lot, and somebody was looking at me and reported me to the management, and the manager kicked me off the property.
What's funny is I use that word camping out, and I said that one time to a client, and they said, please don't put up tents in front of people's houses. Because I think I had it in the declaration even that said, like, I was camping outside. I camped out front for a while. I'm like, it's a figure of speech, people. Get it together.
Yeah. The manager came out. She's like, you can't be harassing my employees. I'm like, ma'am, I'm a county process server. I'm not harassing. I'm trying to serve this court order. I didn't want to give it away. I don't want to give away people's business if I don't have to. She didn't want to do it, and it became apparent to me that they were lying. He was totally in there. He worked in their call center in the back, so I couldn't get to him. Because when I had been sitting on the house, I saw the wife earlier that afternoon. I saw the wife back out and come back 20 minutes later. She left the house and came back to him. So I bet she took him to work. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. The next day, I go back up there. I had a serve to do up there. So I post up in my little spot and I'm watching his truck. And it's, I want to say about 4 o'clock, 4:15. I'm sitting here and I've got a good angle from the side street looking at the truck, and I can see the cross traffic passing here and there. Now what really got it for me, and I think what really made the deal for me, what made it so easy, was the wife's car. She drove this really fancy Mercedes-Benz. There's nothing like it in the neighborhood. Kind of a seedy, almost druggy neighborhood. But it was a nice house just kind of sitting in the middle of this awful neighborhood. Drives this really fancy car. And so I'm sitting there watching the truck, and I see her car pass. She's driving him to work again. Now I'm sitting in a spot where there's a number of streets that kind of go around, and there's like almost like a cliff off to my right, and the street's up above. So I see the car go up, and it turns right, and it's passing, about within 40, 50 feet of me, and I didn't turn my head to look at the car. I didn't want to give it away in case they knew I was sitting there, but I'm eyeballing it as hard as I can. I'm like, yep. There, she's driving him to work. And so I wait a minute or two.
So you saw him in the car?
I couldn't.
You just saw the car?
I saw the car, but she had like limo tinting. So I see the car go behind me. I see it turn off onto the main road. I'm like, oh, she's taking him to work. I don't know that he's in the car, but I'm pretty sure it is, because it's the same time she took off the day before. And so I'm actually, because I'm still new at this, I'm kind of psyching myself. I'm like, do I want to take a chance on this? Am I gonna get him down there? And I just do it. So I take off, and because the way the roads over there work, she actually ended up I didn't know this at the time, she took the long way, but I took the short way. And so I actually beat them down to the work spot. And so I get down there, I'm looking, and he works in one of these big box stores. And so I get down there, and I'm roaming the parking lot, looking around for this car. I'm like, dang it. Either his wife dropped him off, I missed him, I didn't see it on the roads anywhere, going to or from. I'm like, dang it. And so I'm driving along, I'm looking around, I kind of go off to the side. So I'm coming down, I'm going to do just a final pass by of his work. And I'm pulling right up to the aisle. I'm about to turn into the storefront aisle. And her car comes ripping right in front of me and parks right in front of me, right in front of my car. And I'm like, oh snap. I'm like, did she see me?
Put it in park.
Because no, I didn't even do that one. Because it was almost like she was like, saw my car but didn't realize it was me. And she's like, this is my spot. She like ripped right into this spot. And I'm like, oh snap. So I look behind me. There's a parking spot open right behind me. So I just back right up. I get behind a truck where they can't see me. And I'm watching. I can't see him get out of the car. I saw the door start to open. I'm watching her car. And she backs up and takes off. And I just hook around to the right, and there he is. And he's just walking toward the building. I'm like, I got you!
That feeling is amazing.
Oh my goodness, yes it is. And so I roll down the window, and he's on the phone. He's walking on the phone. He kind of looks over his shoulder to see if there's a car coming, but he didn't actually look to see if it was me. I'm thinking if he'd seen me, he'd just tried to run, but he didn't do that. So I roll up on him, and this is like 5 days worth of me trying to get this guy. So I'm a little bit, tense. And so I roll down the window, and he's on the phone. He starts to turn into the garden section of this big box store. I'm like, hey, so-and-so, you've been effing served. And I threw the papers at him. I just chucked him, flutter of paper everywhere.
The flutter.
And he kind of looks back, and I start to take off. I look over my shoulder again just to make sure, and I see his face. I go, that's the guy. And he's kind of looking at me like, what the heck just happened? He can't believe I just threw the papers at him, and I just took off.
How funny. Well, that's awesome, Jay. That's a great story. So you had another situation happen in Orland, didn't you?
I did. Actually, I got this one the day I started the TRO. So it was like I had a great victory, and then I have a great challenge. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And because I'm new, this is actually the first serve that I had any difficulty with at all. Everything else had just been medical debt, people coming to their doors and being really easy on me. First couple weeks were just easy. I had no problems with it. This was the first one that was dodgy, and it was a child custody battle. It's a dad in Texas who wants custody of his son, or partial custody, and the mom's hiding the son, and she's living. It looked like a drug house, honestly. When I went and made my visits there, it was just this awful trailer, and
I remember I went there before you did a while back, and somebody told me straight up she doesn't live here, and I reported that back to the client because they seemed like they were telling the truth, and then they said, no, we know for sure that she lives there, so I gave it to the newbie, which was you.
He gave it to the newbie. He gave it to me. Yeah, he did, and I got the same story when I went the first time. Now, the property was set back off the road just a little bit, and there's kind of a little wood line along the drive, so it was easy to be sneaky if you wanted to just, and that's my preferred method, honestly. I like to sneak up on people if I can. It's fun.
Yeah.
So my first attempt, I go behind this wood line, I can see the house, and I can see my target. I didn't know it was her at the time. I had a feeling it was, but I didn't know it. And again, the newbie mistake, I should have just thrown them at her and just said, hey, you're served. But I didn't do it. So I'm walking up with my clipboard. I step over the little wire between the posts. It's kind of like a pseudo fence. And I'm walking up to her. I get maybe 10, 15 feet away from her. She looks up. She's putting a baby on the porch in a little walker. And she sees me and she turns around and runs in the house. Left the baby on the porch. And I'm like, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Mother of the year right here. And so, I'm still kind of like, this is my first real challenging serve, so I don't really know what to ask, and I've never had this kind of opposition before, so I'm kind of asking people like, hey, who was that? Hey, do you know her? No, I don't know who that is. Do you live her? No. And in the meantime, some dude picks up the baby and walks around the side of the house, and they're all telling me, no, there's no one by that name who lives here. I got it from like 5 or 6 different people. No, there's trailers over there. It's probably talking about over there. And I just do a quick look-see. I'm like, no, it's not over here. But they tricked me. They got me.
I think that's when you first learned that she didn't have to take the papers, right? Or I might have told you that before, but I think that's when you first really learned it was out in the field.
Yeah, like it was like I still had it in my head that I should give these papers to people, but now these two different, this one and the one I just told you, is very galvanizing for me. Like, once I identify you, you're served. I got you.
Yeah, you get like sort of a pit bullish, I'm gonna be professional, but I'm gonna take care of business. And as soon as I know that it's you, you're done. You're served. Yeah,
absolutely. This last week of serving really opened my eyes. I was like, wow. And just really, I take a lot less guff now than I did before.
The funny thing is that as a process server, it's so ingrained in my mind the way that we do it and the way our ultimate mission and goal is to serve it. And so when I've dabbled in some investigative and surveillance stuff, doing sub rosa work, I've noticed that I get to a point where I get in front of them where I could accomplish the goal of a process server. But when you're trying to get information from somebody doing investigative work or trying to find out if a spouse is cheating or just simply doing surveillance to see if they still own a certain vehicle or whatever, it becomes a lot more challenging. Step by step, it's interesting to see a new server go from,
completely greeny, like...
Yeah.
And then from going from that to people are lying to me a lot. It's the truth. And so the next day I come back, and after I talk with you and we confirm with the client, no, absolutely, this person lives here. So I come back, and there's nobody out front. And there's just music blasting. And actually the kid helped me get this one because I pound on the door. I'm pounding on the door trying to get to the music. And the kid comes around the corner, and I wave at the kid, hey, how you doing? And so he gets dad or stepdad to come around and talk to me. And stepdad, I don't know if he was just stoned out or just a really mellow guy. He didn't lie to me about anything. He didn't deny that she lived there. I said, hey, is so-and-so here? And he said, no, she's not here right now. She's down in Sacramento. She'll be back tomorrow evening. But anyway, he was address confirmed. I know she's here now. So the next day, I get some lunch. I'm doing my court runs, and I dropped off at Orland Court, and I get some lunch, and I'm sitting across the house eating my lunch, seeing if I get lucky. Dirtbag that took the baby around the side of the house on the first day, he comes up the drive and he sees me. He looks at me like, I know you. He takes off, and so I finish up my lunch, and I get out of the car and I walk up, and they're like stonewall. There's like these 3 stoners sitting on the porch, just sitting there with their arms crossed, like, you're not getting in here. And so I just walk up and say, hey, is so-and-so here? Oh, no, she's not here. Her car's not here. I go, which one is her car? The blue one? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, boy.
So I like to do that. I like to ask just random You ask questions just to check their honesty.
When they say that no, she doesn't live here, and you say, what's your name? And they go, I'm not telling you that, and shut the door in your face, you might want to come back and do another attempt, even if they're telling. But then again, some people are very secretive, so you don't want to assume anything, but you do want to ask those questions.
Fast forward, so now we're going on to day 4, Friday, and this is the day I got her. So this time I'm like super sneak mode. I've got just a t-shirt and a ball cap, and I park at the truck stop about 1,000 feet away from the house. And I park at the truck stop, and I fold up the papers, put it in my pocket, and I go for a little walk. And I go behind the property. There's this kind of alleyway that goes behind the property. And I'm just kind of creeping along. They got some tall grass. It was nice cover. And so I'm walking along. I can see husband getting stuff out of the car. And so I'm like, I see him. And so I'm creeping along, and I see him come out, and I duck behind the grass so he can't see me. And I'm coming along. I wish I thought about it, because I would have videoed this whole thing if I thought about it. Yeah. But so I'm coming up on the house, and they have this little travel trailer on the side of the house, and I get up around the side of it, and I do a little look-see, a little peekaboo. Look around the corner. I can see my target. I can see her sitting on the porch, her friend sitting across from her, and the husband standing in the doorframe. And she looks and she sees me, and she gets up to start to run in the house. And so I book it. At that point, I just a dead sprint. And I rip out the papers. I say, so-and-so, you've been served. And I throw him in the chair that she just got out of.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Beautiful. And then what was funny now is that the friend got all up in my grill. The husband didn't do anything. He was just watching the whole thing, but she's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, yes, I can. You can't. No, yes, I can. You have to give them to her. No, I don't.
I bet they try to take a picture of you,
Oh,
too.
yeah. I'm walking away, and she's like, I got you on video. Just like that. I got you on video.
Post it on YouTube and tag me.
I didn't say that. I'm walking away at this point. And she says that, I give her 2 thumbs up. I didn't flip her off. I was just like, okay, good. Walking away, and the last thing I hear her say, she's like, what a creeper.
What a creeper. Hey, the creeper got the job done, man.
You got the job. It's like, hey, I don't have to be a creeper. You were dodging, so.
That's awesome, Jay. And so I appreciate you coming on the show today, and appreciate you telling me the awesome story. And I look forward to sharing it with Server Nation. And be safe out there. And did you have any last words for the process servers that are listening?
Just stick with it. You know, like that frustrating 5-day TRO, man, it sucked while I was going through it, but man, it was the biggest rush. I'm not kidding. The biggest rush of my life when I got this guy his papers. Oh, it was the best feeling. So worth it. So worth it.
So, and there is something to be said too about, so many people will come back and they can't make it through it because they're like, I've already lost money. They're too focused on the money side of it, because they've been put so much time into it, but they don't see the side of it where the things where they've went out and they've done only one attempt to post a notice or something like that, or a business serve where they got the full amount of money and just did that one attempt on the way to do 3 others. So there is a balance to be said. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely, there is. And of course, you don't think about the good times because it's like it's just business as usual. You're not the ones you focus on are the ones that I can't get this guy. I've been out here for days. It actually, for me, it became a matter of principle. I was like, I'm going to get this guy, and I don't care. I don't care how much money I lose. I'm getting this guy.
And I remember telling you, we talked about it too. I remember, the difference between a good server and a bad server. Not a good server. A regular server, a regular everyday server, and the man. And I was kind of joshing you. I was kind of messing with you on that because the truth is we do need to get paid, a fair amount for a fair job done, as our good buddy Mike Kern said in our first interview. I would just encourage every server out there, if you're listening, to check out proservertraining.com and servernation.us and use all the many resources that we have out there to be able to help you. Jay, I appreciate you coming on, and stay safe out there.
All right, will do. Thank you.
Server Nation, if you've been listening to this podcast and you have an awesome story, please go to our website, processserverdaily.com. Fill out the contact card. I don't care if you're a big company or a small one. The big guys give us all the tips and the tricks on how to build our business. The little guys, they give us the great stories. I look forward to speaking to you and airing your story on my show, ProcessServerDaily.com. As soon as we hit our 50 episodes, we're going to release to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. So I look forward to that day, and I look forward to speaking to you. Thank you, and until next time, you've been served by the podcast server.